Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Daily Market, the Forex Market Update. It's April Fool's Day, April 1. I hope nobody was tricked. I certainly wasn't. A lot of people have tried, especially since we have social media. I've seen a lot of people uh, posting even more fake news than normal, and it has just been ridiculous, essentially, so that almost everything I see today I'm not believing. But let's get back to the markets, because the price action in the markets were real, that's for sure. Let's just take a look at the trades that we have on. We in the euro, the market, we entered at 12 25 or so, and it's the market went down to the 112.02 region and bounced off of the first area of support. We also have a longer term trade all the way up from 114, and that is roughly up almost 200 pips at this point in time. Now, what happened going into today? We had the market go up to the daily first resistance pivot point, and this was also an area of resistance where we had a swing high. Market had a swing high up at the 112, just above 112, 48 to 50. The market went up to that level today, and we had a number of sell signals, and the market swooped down. We're already in this trade from Friday, so we didn't really enter a new position on that in the euro. So what we really have now is two trades in the euro. We have one at 114 and one at 112 25, around that area. Okay, so what should we be looking for in the days to come? I mean, this market could bounce up again into the 112.30, even back up to this area of resistance. But also, what we could see is that the market is heading towards significant support in the at this swing low here, and just about 111.76. So at 111.76, let's look to see how the market reacts to that level. Will we see a market bounce? Looking on the 4-hour chart, this is that 111 region. Would we see a bounce out of this region, or will the market break down below that area? And that's what we're looking for with the euro currency. And that the action in the euro currency is similar to what's happening in the euro US dollar index, where the market is approaching significant resistance at the 97.71 region on the US dollar index. And some of you folks have saying that you don't have the US dollar index on your chart. I know the brokers, Forex brokers, may or may not have it, but I have it here on eSignal. This is what I use, and this is the US dollar cash index. It's on eSignal, and that's one of the reasons why I like eSignal. So, and the US dollar index is definitely a valuable tool to see what's happening overall with the currencies, because what you will find is the US dollar index influences a lot of the currency pairs, and especially the euro. There are situations where the market won't be correlating well. For example, the next currency, let's look at the British pound, where the euro was down and the British pound is up, bouncing off of support in this 129.50 region. This is an area of support with the British pound, and as you can see, the market came down once, twice. Well, didn't quite come down the third time, fourth time, and bounce off here. So these levels sometimes are not exact areas; they are regions, support regions. And this market has come down to this support and has bounced every time since. British pound on the daily chart is quite choppy. We see that the market had a or head and shoulders pattern. Sometimes you have to search to find these things, but there's a shoulder, there's a head, shoulder. Market broke out, has come back and may attempt to go up. So that's what's happening with the British pound. The bias is to the upside with the market, with the US dollar index in this consolidation pattern. If we do get if we do get a breakout in the US dollar index and the dollar starts to strengthen, I would imagine that the British pound will certainly turn to the downside. The reason why it's not really that weak now is because the US dollar index is just meandering in a consolidation pattern. Another currency that was up today is the Australian dollar. This is very listless, trendless at this point in time. For some scalp trades, it may be fairly good to trade, but it's not really much movement. You would have to go down into the 5 or 15-minute charts to be picking anything off the Australian dollar. The Canadian dollar was strengthening today also, again in opposition to what the US dollar index was doing. The Canadian dollar is in the Canadian dollar essentially, if you look at this trend line, it has broken the trend line or just about testing it out of this triangular consolidation. So we could see a market around this area. We could see a bounce out of this area because this happens a lot. The market peaks below the trend line and reverses. So the Canadian dollar future is a bit uncertain now in terms of the direction, but the bias is to the upside. As you can see, this is the daily chart. We have a series of higher highs, and maybe this market is attempting to break out of this one, or break above, this 137 region on the Canadian dollar. So essentially, looking at the Japanese yen, we see that the yen was moving to the upside. Market is in a fairly established uptrend on the 15-minute chart and on the 4-hour chart. This is a market that is the bias is to the upside. And as you know, I like to take the majority of my trades along with the trading bias and following the prevailing trend. Okay, so that is the Forex market update. Now let's take a look at the S&P 500. Market is going above resistance in the 2868 region. This area was fairly strong resistance, and we see that the market peaked above it into 2850, came down, and is now moving to the upside. So what we could be seeing is a market that will retest the all-time high in the S&P 500. There are also folks that are pointing out that this could be a head and shoulders top. It's not the best drawn pattern, but this will be the head, and the right shoulder could be forming now. So that's something that we are going to be keeping an eye out on. If you are in the stock market, the bias is still to the upside, but just remember that this market is going to face significant resistance up into this 2900 region, and eventually, if this pattern fails and it tests the all-time high, it could face resistance at that point in time also for the S&P 500. So just bear that in mind. Okay, that's essentially it for today. The market update for today. Our members who are still in in our position. For the members who are listening to this, we have a live webinar, live call, trading room tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern time, and I will send out a link for that call. But especially in the last couple of weeks, we have been very fortunate and profitable with our trading, up almost 200 pips on the euro and another 20 pips or so for the second trade. So let's just keep the momentum going. I will be sending out, you should get for the members, at least a trade sheet with this video. I will send it out with when the video is completed. Okay,